Hi, my name is Diamond Henry, and I am going to be going over vital signs. So, I'm using a stuffed animal for this. To take a heart rate using a pulse. So, finding pulses in dogs, the easiest place to find is going to be in the femoral artery, which would be in both back legs. It's going to be in the medial part of the leg, halfway before or halfway between the stifle. So that would be this, and then the back of the leg. Um, you're going to take your pointer finger and your middle finger, and you're just going to go like this. Gently move it around until you can feel the pulse underneath your fingers. Then closer to the body wall will be the easier way to find the femoral pulse. Then there is the dorsal pedal, which would be between the middle aspect of the leg. It will be distal to the hock, which just doesn't really have an ankle thing. um, so you're going to use one finger, and you're just going to put it over that part, adding a little bit of pressure to be able to find the pulse. On some dogs, you can feel the pulse on the back of their foot. You would just need to add more pressure in order to be able to find the pulse. Excuse me. Then I'm going to go over observe the pet for respiratory rate rhythm. So with that, you want to kind of observe from a distance, just because some animals can have the tendency of becoming very anxious, and then they can start panting and breathing a lot heavier due to them being anxious and nervous about being in a new place and maybe not knowing, the veterinary assistants or veterinarians. So you just want to observe from a distance, and then when you are up and close to them, you want to make sure that they're either in a standing position or sternal position. And you want to be checking for, with a stethoscope, you want to be checking to make sure they have good and regular rhythm. And you're just going to use the other side of my headphone as a stethoscope. And you're just going to place it on the left side, and you're just going to move it around and be checking to make sure that there's no odd sounds like whooshing, clicking, wheezing, anything like that. Even if the dog might have like a cough or something like that, you just want to be notifying the vet about that. So when you are checking the heart rate, you want to also be looking for the femoral artery on the back and be holding on to that. Just checking the pulse back there to make sure that the heart's beating good and that there's proper circulation going throughout the animal and reaching their back. And then you're going to want to listen for 15 seconds. And then, so you're going to count during the 15 seconds. You're going to times that by 4. And then that will give you the total number of their heart rate. What's the other thing? Oh yes. Okay. So for checking the mucous membranes, so what you want to do is you're going to open their jaw by their canines. You're just kind of sliding their gum over their canines and lifting up. You're going to use your index finger and slightly add some pressure onto their gums, and then you're going to let go, and you're going to count how long it takes for it to get back to the original color that it was at. Now, if it's healthy, it should go back instantly. But if there are some issues, then it will take more likely take a little bit more time for it to get to the normal color that it was prior. Um, um, okay, so how to assess an animal for pain and what to identify. Um, and how to identify the signs that you are checking for. So, what you want to be checking for is to make sure if the animal is mild to severe. You want to be checking the duration of how long the animal has been um, having the symptoms for, the severity. So, like if it's okay, if it's mild, or if it's severe. The frequency, so how many times a day, like if it's only certain times a day that these things are happening, when are those specific times that the animal is going through their symptoms. Uh, you want to go over like if you see or notice if there's any triggers, so if they're eating something that's triggering them to have a reaction or cause them to behave in a certain way, you want to be notifying the vet about that as well. Um, the progression, so if it's getting worse or if it's getting better, and if there's any extra characteristics that um, could potentially be happening. You also want to be checking to see if they're eating and drinking regularly, if there's any lumps or bumps, the diet that they're on, coughing and sneezing. You want to make sure that they're going to the bathroom properly. Um, and if they're not, then they should be getting into the vet as soon as possible. And that it would be an emergency, because if a cat's not peeing or pooping and they're still eating and drinking, then it's the urine and the feces is trapped potentially. Um, and you want to see if they have any diarrhea, vomiting, if there's any changes in their actions or attitudes. Did I say coughing and sneezing? But yes, so these are all the signs that you want to be um, checking for when bringing a animal in.